Hey, good morning, family. Pastor Artie here with your Manna and Coffee. You notice I got my little Dieter's Crest coffee cup today. Well, it has Pinocchio on there, so I'm going to allude to that a little bit in a little while. So I'm not going to explain what the cup is, but I'm just going to allude to the Pinocchio part of it. Where is our world headed? Well, part of the thing is that we're in a world of trouble. And it's because people are not spreading the gospel as they should. They're not sharing with those that don't know Christ, that they should know Christ. Now, a lot of it has to do with fear. I know there's a lot of you that are apprehensive and say, oh, I just can't do what an evangelist does. But it says, by your fruits they shall know you, and you will know them by their fruits. But you know what? They need to know you by your fruits too. What kind of fruits do you have? Do you walk into work and say, oh, I just hate being here, or are you happy? Hey guys, how you doing? Let's get some coffee. Let's go have a donut. Let's get a bagel. Are you positive when you walk into work? You know what? It's by our witness that people are changed. It's not because you expect them through osmosis to pick up this word, stick it on their head, and all of a sudden absorb all the knowledge of the Lord. And you as well. You can't do that. If you're just listening to your pastors just ramble on from the pulpit, and you're not going home, and you're not taking this word and weighing their message against this word, if you got to get a tape or a CD or whatever, or you're really good at taking notes, then do it. But you know what? If you're not putting them to the check, then shame on you. And what it does, it leads us to turn our backs toward God. And we see that today. We see it in the schools, in our colleges, we see it in our governments, we see it in our businesses, we see it all around us all day. I do. I mean, I get around all day, so I know I see it. It kind of reminds me of Romans chapter 1. And from verse 18 to 32, it talks about that very thing, turning away from God. It says here in verse 21, because that when they knew God, they glorified him not as God, neither were thankful, but became vain in their imaginations, and their foolish hearts was darkened. Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools. How many of you see that today? We have people in very high places, making decisions for us that when I look at them, it's like, God, what a bunch of idiots. And I hate to use that word, but it's true. They make some of the stupidest decisions on my behalf. Yesterday we talked about, if you hired a person and they came to work and they just sat down at their desk and didn't want to do a darn thing, and then they grabbed your credit card, the company credit card, and started charging things on it and giving themselves perks. Why? Because, hey, well, you hired them. They just feel they deserve it. How long do you think that person would really work for you? I don't know about you, but I would have never hired them, number one. I used to have a thing when I would go to work. I would always ask my crew, what are you going to do for the company today? Not what you're going to do for Artie. What are you going to do for the company? I did the same thing when I was in ministry, at churches. I would tell the people, what are you going to do for Christ today? What are you going to do for the church? What are you going to do to glorify God today? Not Pastor Artie. What are you going to do for God? And I pose that same question to all of you today. What are you going to do for God today? Not how can I pray for you, none of that. What are you going to do for God? You see, if you do things for God, he takes care of everything else. He takes care of your health, your well-being, your finances, everything else he takes care of. But it's what you do for him first. You see, he's already done everything on the cross. He started it. He just wants you to do your part. But it says that they became fools. They profess themselves to be wise, but fools. We have all of these people today running for a president that they don't have a clue. Where did that come from? They don't have a clue how to run a country. because they can't even run their own lives. It says that a double-minded man is unstable in all of his ways, and I charge you to look that one up. A double-minded man. We want to give you free health care. We want to give you $1,000 a month. We want to give you this. We want to give you that. And when you look at it, they hoard their own cash. They hoard all their own money. They live in mansions. They fly in private jets. Double-mindedness, it doesn't fly. It says, wherefore God gave them up to uncleanness through the lust of their own hearts, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves. Isn't that what you see today? Just watch them. They dishonor themselves in their own bodies. You know, they try to be healthy and well-minded and all these other things, but inwardly they're like what Jesus said when he was talking to the politicians and the church back in the Gospels, where he said, you guys are like a whitewashed tomb, beautiful on the outside, but inwardly you're full of rotten bones. And it says in verse 28, and here's what I want to get to, and it says, and even as they did not retain God in their knowledge, God gave them to a reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient, being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murderers, debate, deceit, malignant, whisperers, backbiters, haters of God, despitefully proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, and disobedient to parents, without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affections, and unmerciful, who know the judgment of God, that they which commit such things are worthy of death, not only do the same, but have pleasure in them that do them. Gave them over to a reprobate mind. In other words, he gave them over to the things of the world. You know, I started a new hashtag that I got from another group. It's called hashtag Luciferian Left. And that's how I picture where we are today. We are trying to be ruled by the Luciferian left, those that are under Satan's control. Why? Because God said, I turned them over to a reprobate mind. I've given them what they want. They don't want me, they want the world. And what have these people promised? What have people today in our colleges, our professors and everything teaching our kids? What are they telling them? Take for yourself. Do what's right, because tomorrow you're going to die. Grab everything you can now. And you know what? The people running on the Democratic side of our ticket, trying to become our president, what are they promising you? Free health care for people that are illegal here. Lawbreakers. Criminals. What are they promising to other groups? The LGBTQ community. Well, we'll take care of you. We believe in you. You can marry whoever you want. It's all about love. But God said, it's my love. You see, God tells us in His Word that those type of people will not see heaven. Now, take it from me. I pray for these people every day. You know, I have family members that are member of the LGBTQ community. And I pray for them. You know, they have made a decision in their life. Now, I don't hate them. I love them. I pray for them. I pray they make a wise choice. But it's when they give themselves over to the knowledge of the world rather than the knowledge of God that God gives them over to a reprobate mind, and they're going to live out their sin. People today want to take everything from you. Your rights. You know, if the Luciferian left have their way, they'll ban this from even being carried or taken on the streets. Just like in England. You know, everybody says, well, you know, England's got it all together. You know what? If you're caught on the streets of England taking this word and preaching on the streets, people can talk to a Bobby out there, which are their policemen, and have you arrested for being subversive. It's a law. You can be cited and arrested for carrying a Bible and saying, Jesus loves you. What a horrible thing. A reprobate mind, given over to a reprobate mind. Are we going to go the same way, family? Are we going to allow our country that was founded on godly principles in this word to be overtaken by the Luciferian left that are out there in our own government fighting to take everything away from you today? Are you going to stand and fight? Are you going to pray for those that are lost? Or are you going to give in and say, oh, well, whatever happens, happens? You know what? Number one, I'm going to go political now. Make your vote count. Vote this. Vote the Bible. If they don't believe in this, and they don't believe in the tenets of what God has put forth for people, then they're not worth holding an office. They're not worth, and they are not worthy of the office of which they hold. Because America was founded one nation under God, not one nation under gods, one nation under God. This God. This is what was brought over from England to here. This Bible. Not this Bible, actually, but the Word of God. People escaped the tyranny of one country so that they had the freedom to worship. And then we just added everything else. We just opened it up. So it's our fault too. But you know what? We need to pray for those people. Our Constitution has its basis right here. This is where a lot of the Bill of Rights and everything come from, right here. Our articles and our amendments are right here. I told you before, there's two scriptures that everybody says that contradicts itself. It says, beat your swords into plowshares. And then it says in another verse, beat your plowshares into swords. There comes a time when even we have to defend ourselves. And like somebody had said one time, they said, oh, well, I don't see where guns are mentioned, AR-15s and assault rifle, AK-47s are mentioned in the Bible. How stupid. You know what? They used to use swords and spears, and I don't know about you, but I would rather be shot by a gun because it's quicker, it's done, than get sliced up with a sword or run through with a spear. If you want to go back to that, we'll go back to that. Let's get rid of our guns and let's start carrying swords and spears around town and see how that works. How ludicrous, that young girl. I can't even remember her name. Her statement was so stupid, but she needs prayer. She needs to be prayed for. Today, family, don't go the way of the world. Don't give in to all this Luciferian left garbage that you're hearing on TV and in the news and all that other crap. Oh, Pastor already said crap. It is. It's dung. You know what? In the Bible, it says dung. Which is what? Crap. That's exactly where we're at. Today, don't give over to that. Stand your ground. Read this word. Take this word, put it in your heart that you don't sin up against the Lord, and He won't turn you over to a reprobate mind, because you'll have the mind of Christ in order to do the work of God that He has called you to do today, and to minister to those around you that don't know Him by your witness. You know what? A smile can change a person's day. Why don't you try it? May God bless you. May He keep you. May He make His face to shine upon you. May He give you peace today. And Linda and I are praying for you. Pastor Tony, we're lifting you guys up. Olive Rock Ministry, man, we love to hear from you. You can subscribe to our YouTube page. Get these notified. Hit the bell. Tap it so that you'll get notified every time these devotions come up. We love you guys. We want you to have a blessed weekend. And we hope that you will become the light to the world and walk toward the God that this world and the church has walked away from. May you be blessed. Have an awesome day. We love you. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.